Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Broken Masterpiece. Get ready because this week's project is going to take your breath away. Picture this, a serene, timeless sky dotted with hot air balloons drifting gently back in time. That's a vision I had for this dresser transformation. Last week, we stripped the top, primed, and painted the base. And this week, we're adding the magic. We'll be applying transfers, a protective top coat, and a gorgeous paint wash that's going to bring this whole piece to life. In the description box right below where it says more, you can click on that and find all of the links to all of the supplies I used in this video. This is called the Hot Air Balloon and Clocks Transfer by Bells and Whistles. Most of the time you can keep transfers together and you don't have to cut them up, but because I wanted to arrange these how I wanted them, I cut them all up, laid them out on my dresser, sent a few pictures to some furniture flipper friends of mine, asked for their input, and then we got to work. Applying furniture transfers is a relatively simple process, but there are a few things to keep in mind for a flawless finish. The most important thing is to let your chalk or mineral paint cure for about 24 hours, that means dry, before you apply the transfer. This ensures proper adhesion. Before you start, make sure the surface is clean and free of any dust or debris. Gather your supplies. You'll need tweezers for delicate placement in case anything comes apart, paint sticks for burnishing, a wooden applicator that comes with the transfer kit for smoothing, scissors for trimming, and a razor blade or sharp knife for precise cuts. And don't forget a trash can. You'll be surprised how many little bits of paper you will accumulate. My 10-year-old daughter Rosie is helping me with these transfers. Once you get them laid out about where you want them, you carefully peel off the back, grab it by the plastic, careful not to touch the transfer, and lay it down flat on your surface. Because this one was small and it was going over a drawer and attaching to a different space, I was able to cut it and then apply it this way, which worked out great. For other ones that were a little bit bigger and I was afraid I wouldn't cut a straight line, I was able to score them with the razor blade and then cut them from there. Once you get it on the piece, smooth it down from the center outwards using your fingers or paint stick and make sure to remove any air bubbles. Now the key to a successful transfer is even pressure. Using the flat wooden tool, rub firmly over the plastic sheet. The pressure is what transfers the design. You'll see the transfer start to release from the plastic and adhere to your piece. If it's still clinging to the plastic, simply reposition it, apply a little bit more pressure, and try again. Don't worry if it takes a few tries. For more detailed transfers, take your time and work slowly to ensure every part adheres correctly. To wrap inside or outside of curves like this, I found that it was best to push the transfer all the way into the curve, start with the middle, and then work your way out. If you start with the edges and then try and push it into the middle, it will crack and start to separate. The transfers on flat surfaces are absolutely a breeze. My 7-year-old could probably do this too. The ones around the curves that fit into gaps or that go over multiple drawers and spaces where you have to cut them, those are quite a bit harder, and so it really does help to work in tandem with somebody. The last transfer piece that I did was a green chair. I'll link the video above, and that one I also did with a friend, and it is just more fun having more hands there, more hands to work on it. Your hands do get pretty tired using those tools and pressing so hard, and so have a buddy, phone a friend, put on some music, have a great time with it. This piece right here is going to show you what happens when it pulls up with the paper. Now, just a piece of this pulled up, but I paused real quick, and that's why you want to go slow. I paused, put it back down, rubbed a little bit harder on that area, and it clung right to the piece. You couldn't even see. But I always have tweezers on hand in case I need to carefully pull something up and reposition it. Changing gears, once we were done with the transfers, the next morning I took a 180 grit to the top of my dresser because a little bit of shellac had gotten up there, and so I took 180, I went and hand sanded it, I just smoothed it across. I went with the grain, which means going with the wood direction, so in this case it goes left to right on the dresser, or from what you're seeing from front to back. After that, use any broom, brush, or vacuum to wipe off the top for any dust and debris. And then what I like to use before any paint or stain job is mineral spirits and a microfiber rag to just rub into the wood and make sure that I rub it completely clean, free of any debris. And it just conditions the wood to get ready for whatever you're putting on it. Knowing that I'm going to have hints of red of the mahogany coming up under whatever I put on this, I use the dried sage, which has just a hint of green in it, hoping I can neutralize, but knowing that some of the red that's going to pop up is actually going to match some of the transfers on the front, so it's just going to make it a really fun blended piece. I took around a tablespoon of this paint, mixed it in with distilled water, filtered water that I had already put in that bottle, and then I began to paint the dresser. My mistake was that it was much too watery, but there's not really anything you can mess up about a paint wash because you just add either more paint or more water if it's too thick. So this first coat I put on, I finished it up, it was much too wet and didn't have enough paint. So then I mixed another tablespoon of paint in with the remaining water, and I applied a second coat just a few minutes later, and it looked perfect. Paint washes are just like applying stain. You wipe it on or you brush it on with a brush, and then you wipe it back off with either a shop cloth or paper towels like this. Alright, mixed a lot. Well, mixed like another dollop of paint in the rest of the water. So it's a lot thicker this time. I think it was too watery last time. Much thicker. This paint is water-based, and just like a water-based stain, it's going to dry so much faster than an oil-based stain. So oil-based stain, you can kind of let them sit on your piece for probably 15 minutes before you rub them off sometimes. Paint and water-based stain, you cannot. You need to get it on and get it off. And if you're working on any larger of a piece than this, you want to do it in sections. This, I could do the whole thing because I'm a pretty fast painter. Not this fast, obviously. This is on like 5x. But I go back over it with a paper towel right away to wipe off all the excess and get it uniformed in its consistency. Go through and just clean up the edges. Just make sure you don't have any, you can see where paint starts and stops. So you're just gonna go through, clean up the edges, make sure that you don't have more paint on one area than another. And your whitewash stain is beautiful. Before we get to doing the top coat, I'm going to burnish these, which all that means, it's just a fancy word. I'm just going to rub over them with a rag just to make sure that everything's attached so that the sealer does not go underneath at all, because then it will start like curling up. there's like a little spot there sticking up. Now it's attached. Last but not least, it's time for the top coat. I'm using Minwax's polycrylic in a warm satin and a Flexio 5000. This is the Wagner system. I love these. You can buy so many of the detail finish sprayers, which is that front section right there. I have a whole video on how to clean your sprayer. I use this with paints. I use this with seals, with oil-based stuff. It's amazing. I have the setting set on 7/8, which is some of the highest setting, and I have it about halfway open, and I'm spraying a vertical pattern. I do around 2 to 3 coats, typically just 2 on the front or sides of dressers, and then on the top I do 2 to 3 light coats. After that, it was time to attach the hardware. I found these on Amazon. The links are in the description below. Now I get to show you guys how far this piece had come. It had so many dings and so much damage on the top. See the first video to see how much we had to sand out. Now it's been given a complete new look. I took these photos out on my driveway and put it through my AI app called Photo Room Pro. I have a whole video on that too. I got a lot of great before and after pictures with the AI staging in it so that I could put it on Facebook Marketplace and have it sell very quickly. After my back surgery, I had to work smarter, not harder, and AI staging has been a game changer for me in how quickly I sell my pieces. What do you guys think about these before and after, and what do you think about the dresser itself? I will see you next week with another furniture flip.